Hello, Jim. So I'm getting ready to head for the Springs, but before we go, I wanted to show you the Pinz. I don't know what you know and what you don't know. So I'm going to give you a walk around, show you some details on the vehicle, then we'll get inside it. I'll show you how everything shifts and starts, etc. And then we'll get into the engine compartment. I've done a few things to make life a little easier for whoever's taking care of the vehicle, and I figure you might as well know about them since you're not here to pick it up in person and I can't show you personally. This is as close as it's going to get. So let's get with it. So I'm going to give you a quick walk around. One thing when you wash the vehicle, I want to show you this particular light unit. This is your low light unit that gives you the shielded low light visibility for blackout driving. Don't know if you'll ever need it, but you can use it with night vision goggles, etc. But it's very sensitive and a little bit on the pricey side. This is a fairly new unit. Probably replaced it 2 years ago. The other one just got to the point where it was just worn out. This lens right here, if you hit it with high pressure water, you'll bust it. And once it gets moisture inside, this thing will start to corrode. So take care of this unit. Also, you see these auxiliary lights right here. These are high and low beam floodlights. They're great. I'll show you how they work as well. And the headlights, I just put the big H4s in there. This thing, these light up the night. They are fantastic. I think it's all adjusted so your high-low beams are absolutely correct. So then the next thing I want to show you is on the mirrors. When you go off-roading, bring the mirrors in like so, because if you don't and the brush catches it, it's going to slap around like this and potentially bust out the window. It'll for sure bust out the mirror. And these mirrors, you can get these mirrors at Pep Boys. I'm going to send you the original mirrors that came on the vehicle, but these kind right here, they're inexpensive. You can get them at Pep Boys. You can keep them an extra set in the thing. I think they're $15 or so. In case you bust one, you've got an extra one. On a Pinz, you really need to have the mirrors all the time. They are it's really difficult to drive one without. As much open as the vehicle is, it's a little hard to see things. This plug is vibrated out, so I'm going to get you a new plug today and put it in there before I head out. The windows and everything, if you park it outside, do something to cover it. These windows will rot out fairly quickly. I've always kept the vehicle inside when I wasn't using it, so that these windows are in super shape. In fact, you can see all the way through to the other side and out the other side. I keep all the locks. All the locks are the same. I'll open those up in just a second when we get back around and get to them. One side's your battery compartment, the other side's full of tools. Here's the shovel that comes with it. It unlatches, if I remember this right. I haven't unlatched it in a while. There it is. So you'll unlatch it right here and the shovel drops out. It's an original Pinz shovel. If you ever have to replace the shocks, these shocks are still working good. Try and get originals. There are people that have put others on there, Rough Rider, etc., but they're just not nearly as good. The Pinz shock absorber is designed for the Pinz and works fantastic. I'd stick with the Pinz shock absorber if you ever have to do the shocks. Before I get too far away, this little post here is a step for getting in and out of the vehicle. I don't really use it, but a lot of people do. If you take the wheel off, this just drops out the other side. Let's go on around. You can see how all the tension straps work. I'm sure you could figure that one out on your own. The back step here, be sure and lift it up. It lifts up out of the way for traveling. I put a receiver hitch in there for you, so I don't know what trailer you'll be pulling, so you'll need to get a ball. But the hitch there, the step goes up and down, makes it really easy to get in and out of the back. Now I've placed this box in here. When the seats are flipped down, in other words, when you take the seats and they drop down those little compartments, you can see where the other side would match and make a flat bed throughout the whole back of the truck. I built this box for going camping because you can put food or whatever you want in it. This bar here keeps it from sliding back and forth, side to side and front to back. So I'm sending that with it. There's the extra material that was for reupholstering the back seats. They've all been done, but in case you ever decide to do anything or need any extra, there's the extra material. Let's see, let's head on in here and I'll grab some keys. You can see all the levers. Let's go to the other side. Let's just jump up in here. So, keys, we'll go through those in just a few minutes, but there's the lock keys on the keychain. So anyway, looking at the speedometer, don't run it past the 100 kilometers, or at least this orange line, which is about 102 or 103 kilometers. don't go faster than that, because if you go faster than that, the splines in the gearing for the wheels can strip out. So don't ever run it harder than it needs to go. I usually run it around 90 kilometers just to keep from just running the hell out of it. Got a brand new gauge here. They had all faded out, but last year I put a brand new gauge, or not gauge, but idiot light panel in, and all new bulbs are in it. The gas gauge is absolutely accurate. When this thing says reserve, you're out of gas. So don't let it get that low. If you do, you got 5 gallons on the side. Your tachometer is accurate. These are all your fuse blocks. You just reset them by pushing them in. I've never had one pop, but if they do, that's just how you do it. You just shove them back in again. To start it, you turn the key on, and then this is your start button. Now it hasn't been started in a few days. Let's see how it fires up. It always fires up like that. Unless it's sat for more than about 30 or 60 days, then it's tough starting. So again, you just turn your switch on, hit your starter button. Here's your, this is for your fan off and on. This is your, boy, I can't remember everything actually. This is your high-low beam for your auxiliary lights. It says fan, but we just use this switch for a high-low auxiliary light out front. You'll really like these. And this one is your windshield wiper right here. Your windshield motor is here in case it ever needs anything. You got the emergency brake. You just pull it out to get it off. You twist it, push it back in. This is your temperature controls on the airflow. You've got, I don't know how well you can see this down here. Yeah, you can. This is your high-low range. Forward is high range, backwards is low range. You can flip it on the fly. The green lever is 4-wheel drive. Again, you can flip it on the fly. It just drops backwards. And then when you want it off, you flip it up, and the little green light will light up right there. On all of these, they'll all light up as they're when they're engaged. This is your rear locker. This is your front locker. You turn your front locker on, it's tough to steer. So be sure I save this for when I'm really into something difficult, and I flip it down and then I turn it right back off. When you're driving, it may take a quarter mile or more for these to disengage. They're all hydraulic and they kind of work on their own thing, but they work fairly fast. And from what I'm explaining about Pinz Gowers, this one works super fast. These are 2 rifle racks for, I can't remember the rifle that the Swiss carry, but it's designed to hold them. I always kept a Winchester pump action pistol grip 12-gauge shotgun in here. We have bears and things like that whenever I went camping, and so I always kept my shotgun in here. I removed this one. I put it back in for you, but it's a little cumbersome for a passenger when they're getting in and out, etc. And then you've got your glove box. Above your glove box, you've got a map light, and you can see that the map light works. Everything works. Everything. I'm fussy about that kind of stuff. Then you get into your glove box, and inside here you've got extra light sockets, extra light bulbs, bits and parts and pieces, an extra set of keys. I think that's everything. Then behind the seat, you've got your tow cable, and I've used this before, but only to help other people off of mountains when they had broken down vehicles. Behind the seat, I've got you one large fix-a-flat tire, which I'll probably put another one in here because I have an extra one and I don't have any more vehicles with tires this big. This is a lead additive. There's not a lot left. You're going to want to get another type of lead additive or the replacement of this. I don't know if they still make this or not, but this stuff goes a long, long ways. So be sure, and every time you put gas in it, now it has a 16-gallon gas tank, so read the instructions and be sure and put your lead additive. These engines need a lead in them. They were lubricated by the lead. I'm sending you a first aid kit, and this is your road hazard hardware. It's got a little reflective piece in there. And then behind the driver's seat, you've got, this is your onboard air compressor. I'll send you the fire extinguisher course. I'm going to leave the bow saw in here. There's a bow saw in here. You'd be surprised where this thing will go. You'll get out in the woods and there'll be a tree or a limb or something down, and a lot of times this will climb over it, but when it won't, here's the bow saw. On the other side, let me go show you that. Here's your axe. The axe has a flip right here. I've got it sharp as a razor blade. So here's an axe if you ever need it. Between the axe and the bow saw, you're covered. Some people carry chainsaws. I still use good old-fashioned manpower. This little pouch is just miscellaneous. In fact, I don't even remember what's in there. I'll have to find out. These bungee cords, when you roll the top back, And I'm going to roll it back today. I'll show it to you. But when you roll the top back, I just use a bungee cord. It goes into, there's a little latch up there, and it straps it into place and holds the top all back. And I'll show it to you later. These are for if you forget to put your seatbelt on, they protect your head if you bounce up into the roll cage. This portion of the Pinz gower, you can see right here, is a full roll cage. And then all back here in the back is another full protective. They don't look like roll bars, but you can see here it's a full gauge with gusseting. You can see the gusseting right there. And this, in the event it rolls over, this will protect you. You can see here where I put foam on the bars to keep the top from smacking around too much when you're driving down the road. And then, of course, that's your midsection canvas that rolls up out of the way. I'm going to roll it all up. It's hot here today, and I'm going to get this thing down the road, and then I got to have a cab take me all the way back up again. That's where the expense went. But either way, I want to make sure we get this down there today so that I'm the guy that looked after it. Now, in the engine compartment, I want to show you this real quick. If you let the vehicle sit for a really long time, these little plugs, I put these in here because it's to prime the carburetors. There's two carburetors, and these little plugs will pop out, and then you can just squirt a little bit of raw gas in there and it'll fire right up. You got your oil check, your oil fill, your air filter intake, and then right back here, you can't see it very well, but it is your air filter. And it's a circulation air filter. It works like a champ. You can blow it out a few times, but you can get these filters from CarQuest. I'll see if I can find the number for you. It's all 24-volt waterproof electrical, and this right here is your intake for the engine. This just blows air past all the cylinders. I'm not going to take the engine cover off because you got to pull the seats out. To get into the full engine, you pull the seats out, and then you undo. There's a latch under the seat here, and then this latch here and this one over here release the you'll see here where you pop these down, and they are what hold the engine compartment steady and quiet. Well, quiet's a kind of relative term in a Pinz gower. So I think that covers about everything I can think of. If I've forgotten anything, you call me, because I know this thing like the back of my hand. Super vehicle, oh yeah, and here's your windshield washer. You just squeeze it, you just push it in and it squirts water on the thing. Doesn't work worth a crap, but it's there. Well, buddy, I think that's about it for the moment. Can't think of much else. Oh, there's a midsection here. I took this out because my wife's pretty small, and every now and then when we were driving, she could get back and forth in here. I've taken the cage part out and put a pad right here for climbing in and out. Long story short, this is an access through, but there's a cage that goes with it. Alright, brother, well, if I've forgotten anything, you call me and ask me, and I'll show you a few more pictures or another video once I get all the tops rolled off this thing. We're going to get going here pretty soon. I got to meet a guy down there by about 4 o'clock. So, anyway, hope you enjoy the vehicle. I sure have. If you need anything, holler at me. Thanks a lot.